Superman and Luke Skywalker are two of the most iconic heroes in pop culture. One came from Krypton. The other grew up on a farm on Tatooine. Both lost their homes, both lost people they loved, and both were given incredible power. But if we aren't asking who would win in a fight, who is actually the better hero? Let's compare them. Superman's greatest strength isn't his heat vision, super strength, or ability to fly. It's his restraint. Clark Kent could easily rule the world if he wanted to. Almost nobody could physically stop him. But Superman constantly chooses not to use his power for himself. He saves people who can't give him anything in return. And that's what makes Superman interesting. His greatest battle isn't against Darkseid, Doomsday, or Lex Luthor. It's against the temptation to become something more than human. Luke Skywalker has a very different journey. Luke starts as an ordinary young man who wants to escape his boring life. Then he discovers that he is connected to the Force. But unlike Superman, Luke doesn't begin as a symbol of hope. He makes mistakes. He rushes into danger, he fails as a Jedi, and eventually he loses his way. That's important because Luke's heroism comes from something different: redemption. Luke learns that being a hero doesn't mean never falling. It means choosing to get back up. And his greatest victory isn't defeating Darth Vader. It's refusing to give up on him. Luke sees the good still left inside his father when almost everyone else sees a monster. That decision ultimately leads Vader to turn against the Emperor. And Luke proves that sometimes the most heroic thing you can do isn't defeating your enemy. It's believing they can still change. So who has the greater powers? That's easy. Superman. Depending on the version, Superman can survive things Luke simply couldn't physically withstand. He's faster, stronger, and far more durable. But raw power doesn't decide who the better hero is, because Luke has something Superman doesn't experience in quite the same way. Luke knows what it's like to be tempted by the darkness. He knows what it's like to fail. And he knows what it's like to be afraid of becoming the very thing he hates. Superman, meanwhile, represents the ideal. He is the person with almost unlimited power who chooses kindness anyway. Luke represents something different. He represents the ordinary person who's given power, makes mistakes with it, and still finds a way back. And that's why comparing them is so interesting. Superman shows us what humanity can aspire to be. Luke shows us that even when humanity fails, redemption is still possible. So, who is the better hero? If we're talking about consistency, Superman probably wins. He spends his life protecting people and refusing to let power corrupt him. But if we're talking about growth, Luke has the stronger journey. He starts as an inexperienced farm boy, becomes a Jedi, falls into darkness, loses his way, and ultimately discovers that compassion can be more powerful than violence. And maybe that's the real answer. Superman teaches us to be better. Luke Skywalker teaches us that it's never too late to become better. So if you had to choose Superman or Luke Skywalker, who is the better hero?